Hi, everybody. Welcome to a tarot tea quickie and a little bit of astrology investigation mixed in. This is just wild, you guys. This is one of those stories that obviously we've all been following it, but this is when astrology in the wild it's gonna blow your mind. Okay, you guys. So I'm actually leaving for Dallas in the morning. I told you guys, if you guys are tea timers, you know that I am going to Dallas to speak at the Dallas Animal Commission meeting, and we're gonna get some footage of the adoptable dogs and cats. Lawyer Moog is coming with me; he's meeting me there. And anyway, we're doing all kinds of crazy stuff. But I could not go to bed tonight without getting on here and doing this. It's so late, so just we're gonna roll with it. Okay, I'm just gonna record this. I'm not editing anything. So, we'll see. Just we're going on this ride together. But let's dive right in because this is really wild. This is, like I said, astrology in the wild moments happening, just popcorning right and left. I've been noticing it all day today in the coverage. And the first thing that I noticed that made me just stop and say, like, are you kidding? Like my jaw is on the floor. I was watching a report of the P. Diddy, the situation and all of the allegations and incidents and everything that these charges are encompassing. And one of the reporters said, these charges and these incidents date all the way back to 2008. And in my head I went, ding ding ding, what? 2008? What happened? Oh my god, you guys. Oh, I'm freaking out. What happened in 2008 that we have been talking about on this channel non-stop, including the prediction that I made about Diddy finally seeing justice, being arrested. By the way, if anybody knows what video that was in and can give me the timestamp and tell me which video it is, if you email it to Brit at Brit cards and stars at gmail.com and it's the correct info, I will gift you a 30-minute MP3 reading, okay, of your birth chart and tarot or whatever you want. If you want a combo or whatever, because I need to find that. And I don't remember which video it was in, but I said it will happen before November 19th, which is when Capricorn, spoiler alert, when Capricorn moves from Pluto into Aquarius. This is the final Pluto pass of Capricorn in Aquarius. This started September 1st. Of course, it's been there for 20 years. I'm sorry, well, since 2008. Is that 15 years, 20 years, whatever. We're not doing math tonight. We're just going to keep moving. This has been going on since 2008. Pluto has been in Capricorn. When the reporter said the incidents date back to 2008, my head almost exploded. I was like, wow, like these are the moments that you're like, astrology is so real. It's crazy. We've got to tell our friends, guys. We got to get people on board with this. It's just okay. So the next thing I thought once she said that and it kinda, like, I started to come to my senses, I was like, "Okay, so not only did these incidents begin when Pluto entered Diddy's allegedly, for entertainment purposes, first house." That's what we're gonna say the allegedly stuff about today, because the other stuff was just, a little more than alleged, I think, but, his first house of Capricorn, and I created a birth chart for Diddy using the information that I have. Now, I made a noon chart, and I know this is very controversial. Some people get annoyed with me when I do this, but I think that trusting your intuition when it comes to astrology is one of the key components. And I hope that you guys do the same. Like, if you're ever like unsure of different things about astrology, go with your gut, listen to your gut. And the more you practice it, the more you're going to be able to kind of like, just feel it out. So for me, I created a noon chart because I wanted to see if the noon chart, using noon as the birth time, since we don't have his birth time, we do have all the other information about him. Um, I created this noon chart to see if it looked like, intuitively this could fit. Just kind of like do a little at-home chart rectification, which is what you do when you don't have someone's birth time. And it did, it fit. So I also have that chart in front of me. And I want to talk about what I, am finding out in this investigation of my own. So Diddy's first house of Capricorn, this is, your first house is about the self. Your first house is who you are, how you show up in this world. When Pluto enters whatever house it's entering, For you, so for all of us, we're wrapping up the Pluto and Capricorn cycle. So depending on your birth chart, wherever Capricorn, whichever house Capricorn rules, this is where you have been given power, you've been given opportunities. Now, there could have been growth through challenges in this area of your life, but this is also a place where you've probably noticed that you've had more power in this part of your life. For Diddy, ever since 2008, he has been given the power of Pluto in his first house. So, and Pluto is power. It is like, the little crown that you put on your head. So people with prominent Capricorn energy, while Pluto has been in Capricorn since 2008, all these systems, all this stuff that we've just been talking about, like the king type of energy, the business people, the few at the top having the power over the many, that's Capricorn. Right now, at this full moon, lunar eclipse in Pisces, where the moon is in Pisces opposite the sun in Virgo. Virgo is like, this archetype of purity and all of this stuff, which is also his moon sign, by the way. And the sign of Cassie, who started all of this, kind of helped this to all kick off, got all of these things moving forward. This is a karmic reckoning because allegedly for entertainment purposes only, Diddy did not use the power given to him with Pluto and Capricorn in his first house. He did not use it wisely. And this is the perfect karmic moment for him to have to answer for that. This is not just yes, he's answering legally and justice. I hope the justice will be served, but he's also answering karmically, which is why I think, in my humble opinion, I do think he's going to get quite the sentence. I don't think he'll be leaving. I really don't. Here's another reason why. Okay, so like I said, I created that birth chart for him that really helped me to kind of look at these things. Let's talk about his first house a little bit more. So his first house is very interesting because according to this noon chart that I've created, that I am, we're going to go with it here. We're going to, because intuitively this feels so right. Yeah, it feels so right. I'm gonna tell you a couple other things why. It's so right. So his first house starts at his first house is in Capricorn, but it contains Mars. So he also has Mars in the first house. Mars in the first house gives someone incredible power, passion. Unfortunately, if you misuse the power of Mars. Again, this is that thing. If you have Mars in your first house or wherever you have Mars in your chart, you have power in this part of your life. It's a natural thing. So to have Mars in your first house, that's a gift. Now, on the down, the negative side of that is if you misuse that energy, Mars in your first house of self is going to give you an angry personality. I mean, you can have a really angry personality, very similar to Saturn in the first house. You can either be very disciplined and orderly and, a high achiever through truly just like discipline, freedom through discipline. That is like your gift. And you can be extremely successful with Saturn in the first house. And it feels very similar to Mars for me because it's kind of a sharp edge. It's like you're either going to do it or not. And with Mars, it's like the same thing. It's like your gift would be a lot of it natural energy, the kind of person that can just kind of get up and go in the morning. Someone with a natural drive, like they never really feel like aimless or they don't struggle with like laziness or things like that. Like, who does? But no, it's not something that like you struggle with. It's like you just have a natural power, charisma, passion, direction in life, a strong personality. Like it's just somebody that's like, people look at and they're like, wow, that person's like, kind of got it together and you feel confident. On the negative side, if you misuse that and you become arrogant or, Mars is the planet associated with war and conflict, if you become like all the things that everybody, all the things that in this case are coming out against Diddy, I mean, the anger, the trigger warning also, by the way, just these themes are so horrible. The way you treated Cassie, that video, just that is a Mars energy gone very wrong. That is someone who has allowed the lower energies of Mars of anger and control and a power grab, like kill or be killed type of energy with Mars being the planet of war. they have allowed that to take over. Okay. So like I said, it's like you can either choose to use the good of any part of your birth chart, or you can fall into the negative. And the reason I think that this reckoning is happening for Diddy right now, literally like the past, like, oh my God, it started like the 16th was when he was arrested. The 17th, here we are. We just had the whole situation where he found out that he was going to have to stay in, in confinement, or like it's not jail, but it's like you have to be confined. So, by the way, side note, I talked to Michael before, aka as you know him, Lawyer Moog, before getting on here because I was like, there, knowing him, like being married to him, I know enough about law to know that like there are a lot of like words and like things that are very specific that if you don't know, like you can talk about the law and you can say things like jail instead of prison and vice versa. And you can be saying like the completely wrong thing. And it's like a different language, it's like its own language. And I know enough to know that, like, as Aristotle said, I know enough to know that I know nothing. So I was talking to him and I was like, for the upcoming podcast episode this week, will you record with me since we're going to be in Dallas together? And like, we're gonna have the dogs won't be around, whatever. We can like do whatever we want. I'm gonna be like, okay. I was like, can we record a podcast episode together? And I'm gonna ask you questions about the case so we can understand the process, what's going on, how this works. Like, just I need more, I need to understand. Like, I still feel like there's questions that I have, and maybe you guys feel the same way. I feel like, we're all kind of in the same boat here. And then I'm gonna pull tarot cards as well. So it's gonna be like, a mix of light legal education and tarot. Who knew? Who knew the two could mix? But we're going to do that for the episode on Monday. So if you guys are listening and you know a little more about law than I do, I'm so sorry if I say things wrong. Lawyer Moog will be here to help us get some clarity in the podcast episode that will be out. It should be out Monday, Tuesday at the latest, because we're going to be driving back from Dallas. Anyway, so back to it. What the heck? Total side note. This is why I don't record it this late at night. This is usually when I start yawning and I hop off the lives. But this was just too important to pass up. So another thing that got me really excited, again, when I say excited, like that feels so insensitive. I'm not excited about these things that have happened. Obviously, it's tragic, horrible, evil, as you guys can see on my thumbnail. Like it made me, I don't know. I was just all day, I felt like sick to my stomach reading about this. I had the live stream on in the background of just like outside of the courthouse, and I was expecting him to come out. But no, they're holding on to him, and I'm so glad they are. But this is one of those situations where the astrology is it is so dead on that it does excite me as someone who loves astrology. So the other thing that excited me just beyond belief, you guys, my mind is so blown. Right now, currently, if you check the current transits, Capricorn, Pluto is in Capricorn at the 29th degree, which is known as the anaretic degree in astrology. It is the last degree of a zodiac sign. And what that means is this is like a karmic culmination. And by the way, you guys know how I love 111, 11, 9 plus 2 in numerology, that's 11. So I'm telling you guys, it all connects. It all connects. 11 is then this like angel number. So 29 degrees, it's like this is to me the degree of higher judgment. It's where a higher power takes over. 11 energy, the angels, like the universe, God, spirit. This is where that higher power is going to step in. And you're either going to get, judgment card in the tarot. You're either going to get a pat on the back, your due rewards for hard work, for your kindness, for, the things that you've been putting out. If you've been putting out good, it's going to all come back to you. And if you have been misusing the power of Pluto and Capricorn since 2008, as Diddy has grossly misused it, as we have seen the laundry list of awful things, the racketeering, the trafficking, I can't even say it here because like YouTube has a lot of rules about what you can and can't say. Like awful, awful. When the anaretic degree hit, like what are the odds that he'll be arrested while Pluto is on the anaretic 29th degree in Capricorn. And that's not all. If we look at his natal placements in his birth chart, he has Mars in his natal chart at 29 degrees Capricorn. Mars, anger, that first house. This is his karmic reckoning, you guys. I have never seen it more clearly in my entire life. And I've looked at a lot. I'm hitting the mic. I'm so excited. Um, and I've seen a lot of birth charts. I've done a lot of little of my own little deep dives. This is insane. And this honestly gives me so much faith and hope in the future and in this next cycle where Pluto is going to be entering into Aquarius, taking us from that top down, the few have more and control more, or like, Diddy was just like acting like a little king on his throne, moving people around like chess pieces. I mean, just awful. That's done. The board is being cleared, you guys. Once Pluto leaves Capricorn on November 19th, all of the pieces are going to have fallen where they may. I mean, the board will at least be pretty set, like we're going to know what's going to happen. And now we move on to a new game entirely. The rules have changed. We're stepping into a new reality. And this eclipse, to me, is the closing out, eclipsing out of that old energy. It is done. What we have done in the past, we can't change it. It's over. Um, Based on where you have Pluto in, I just got goosebumps, like confirmation. Based on where you have Capricorn in your birth chart, this is where you've had Pluto since 2008. Check up on that part of your life right now, between now and November 19th. We want to move quickly through that and make sure that we tie up any loose ends, make sure that we are using that power, putting that little, dotting our I's, crossing our T's, and making sure that we really are just ready to let that go and fully mentally prepare ourselves to step into Pluto and Aquarius. Now, I actually have Aquarius rising. So, like Diddy had since 2008, myself and all of my Aquarius rising friends watching, we are now going to have that opportunity of Pluto empowering our sense of self. And I'm not saying it's going to make us like powerful or whatever, but it could like empower us in the sense of feeling more confident to go after our goals, or, that can look a lot of different ways. I'm not trying to say like, whatever. But what I will say is this made me sit up and think, oh Lord, like, well, not that I would do that anyway, but I was like, oh Lord, like I am going to use this for good. I'm gonna use this for good. It's also funny though that my my husband and I were actually going to do a lot of Aquarius things this week, going to the animal commission, volunteering at the shelter. So actually, I think we're already good. I don't have to worry about it. But it does freak you out when you see all this. You're like, oh my God, like truly what you put out comes back. And that can be really good and it can be really just. And I like that. Anyway, that's going on. Also, his ascendant. Now, the ascendant, like I said, it's very shaky, it's iffy. But based on the noon chart, you know, it says ascendant in 23 degrees Capricorn. That's still close to that 29th degree. So, I mean, he just lots of Capricorn energy. Also, he has his moon in Virgo. So, this full moon is actually happening in opposition to his natal moon. Yeah, it's shining a light on everybody looks at things differently, right? When I look at oppositions, I try to have like a positive view of astrology. Like, how there's like positive psychology. I try to to use positive astrology because it does make a difference and it's just as valid of a way of looking at things. And it makes me feel better about life. For oppositions, these are typically considered very negative. However, I look at an opposition as just a tension point. And what this can do is it can just basically give you information and tell you like what you need to do to get there. So, okay, here's an example. Michael and I, like I said, we were just talking. We were gabbing before I got on here, and we were talking about the podcast episode we're gonna do, and I'm so excited to interview him on the podcast and do a little law talk, but a little law tea, but with the Libra lawyer. But he was telling me we were talking about all kinds of things, and he was telling me this one thing that Kobe Bryant said. And long story short, and I'm gonna butcher it. Oh my god, but you'll get the gist, hopefully. Long story short, he had just missed like a shot. He was playing basketball, obviously, and he missed a shot. And he put his head in his hands, and his coach was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Like, you must be so disappointed because you've been doing this shot so much and da da da, and you missed it." And he said, "No, I was just thinking. I finally understand what the problem was." And so the coach is seeing it one way as this like emotional disappointment, which is why he's putting his head in his hands. But for Kobe, he was like putting his head in his hands because he was thinking. And that's what an opposition is to me. And it also reminded me of another phrase in our household that I've got to give that one to Michael as well, because he used to be a coach and he has Saturn in his first house. You can't make this stuff up. We should expose him and get to know his birth chart while I'm interviewing him. That'd be so fun. Notes for the podcast. But he was like, so his with Saturn, in the first house, and as a former coach, football coach, he was like, he always says next play. So like when I'm stressing out, when I'm being the opposition that is like worried about the chasm between how I'm feeling now and where I want to be, he's like next play. And that's also a Kobe Bryant thing. It's just next play, next play. And so that's the way I look at oppositions in astrology. This is next play. So if you have natal planets in, Virgo that are opposite this full moon, as I do as well. I have a Virgo sun and Mercury, Virgo Mercury. This is a time where things are being illuminated in the sense that we're understanding where I want to go versus where I am now. And so we can put our head in our hands like Kobe and make our plan. Or if you're more into like the negative astrology, which I don't recommend, this is when you can be like, this is when astrologers say like, oh my gosh, you'll feel these shocks and it can be stressful time and this and that. I really think that we should just kind of shed that language, make this a time of information, growth, planning. And also Virgo does that really well. And with this being Virgo season, with the sun opposite the moon, I just think this is kind of a good time to do that. Anyway, that's what we've even talked about in the members only video where we talked about how to use this energy. However, for Diddy or anyone else who's committed a bunch of crimes and just made a karmic mess of their lives by having no regard for anyone but themselves, this would be a time when the chasm, the moon in Virgo, and the full moon, things coming into the full light of day. You guys, what is done in the darkness comes to light. We've been talking about this with Diddy. We've been talking about this with astrology for so long. And it happened. It happened. And for him, this is not the time when he's going to be able to make the plan and fix it. I think the writing is on the wall. I think it is done. He also has his Pluto in Virgo. Pluto is transformation. So for Pluto in the moon, for his Pluto and moon to both be in Virgo, his part of his journey emotionally has been about transformation through emotion. Now, to have the moon in Virgo, this can be a very like stable placement, but there can be some wounds sometimes around like feeling nurtured or the mother wound. And if you know anything about Diddy's mother, which I learned about today, lovely woman, not lovely. She scared me. And there's something about the white nail polish, and she had white nail polish on in the video that I watched. Yeah, it's icky. It's really bad, you guys. It's exactly what you're thinking, which is disturbing. So definitely a mother wound, okay? For sure for him. And sometimes also Virgo energy feels like they have to be alone or they don't have, that nurturing. And so on the positive side, they become a healer and a nurturer for others, right? And it can be very beautiful, very giving energy. We have this opportunity to do this. My husband has a Virgo moon, for goodness sakes. I love Virgo moon people. I know so many amazing Virgo moon people. But if you choose not to do the healing work, not to be a giver and to heal others, and you just close that up, yikes. So, and then with Pluto being there with his moon, this is emotional transformation. So this can either go, we can do this the easy way, by being loving and letting Pluto transform. Like he could have let Pluto transform his life through love. And he definitely had an opportunity with Cassie to do that because she's a Virgo sun. However, we saw that he completely misused that and did not, he did the opposite of being loving. And so Pluto was like, okay, well, then we're going to transform you um, you know, through the opposite of love. You're going to get that coming back to you. So Pluto will tear things down. And he has now entered his phase of things being torn down. So his first house is Capricorn, meaning his second house is Pisces. Um, Hold on, let me look at one more thing right here, this birth chart. Sorry, I said I'm not editing, and I won't. Okay, if we look at his birth chart, I'm sorry. I was like, why did I say Pisces? His first house is Capricorn. His second house is Aquarius. So now the next 20 years with Pluto entering into Aquarius, this is when his second house is going to experience the massive transformation, his second house of income. Now, based on the fact that he's probably going to be incarcerated, if justice is served, he'll be incarcerated while the whole dang time that Pluto is in Aquarius. This is a massive loss, a massive upheaval. Now, if he would have used the Pluto in Capricorn energy for good and would have become a benevolent boss, because Capricorn is the boss, the big boss energy. If you'd have become a benevolent boss, the Mars energy, using that energy for good to fuel uh, becoming more successful. And on the positive side, Capricorn builds a legacy and they take care of their family and their extended family and they build a business and a dynasty that is a good thing. Like it's a very positive thing that is productive. Capricorn's productive and it's a goat that climbed all the way up the mountain. I mean, Diddy didn't come from anything. So he has that Capricorn quality. He could have done that. It's actually, when you look at his birth chart, it's actually very disappointing to see someone just completely just desecrate their chart and their lives and hurt so many people. It's really gross. But he had that opportunity to do that, and because he didn't, now that Pluto's moving into Aquarius, yeah, his opportunity it's done. Now he's going to be seeing the judgment. This is the judgment time, the final sweep of Pluto through Capricorn. We're all going to get our karma for whatever we did during that time. Which, by the way, you're fine. If anybody's worried, like, you're fine. You're not a Diddy. The people that are gonna get their karma are the people that have really misused it. Like, you know who you are. And hopefully none of you guys are watching this because yikes. It's bad. It has to be really bad stuff. Things like Diddy, like you know what you did. It's not like just making little mistakes and learning from them because that's part of growth. Learning and is part of growth. Stumbling is part of growth. That's what Pluto is here to do. It's helping us to like tear things down and rebuild. But as long as you have like a positive intention, which I think everybody watching this does, then Pluto's going to help you rebuild stronger and better. So this is also a time when we can all see positive karmic rewards in that house. Okay. And then we're going to get to start the cycle again in the Aquarius part of our charts. And for Diddy, because the second house so heavily is going to be building on his first house, the second house is your self esteem, your self worth, and money and income. It's done. He's already set up the next transit to be complete. I mean, just it's wow. And Pluto is the great destroyer in order to rebuild the Phoenix rising. But if you have done all these things, Pluto also is going to deliver the justice. So, yeah, he's going straight down into the underworld, basically. Pluto rules Hades. Okay, so that's the birth chart stuff. How crazy is that? Okay, how long did I freaking talk about that? Almost 30 minutes. Well, actually, it was 29 minutes, the anoretic minute. Okay. We're going to pull a couple cards. And then, like I said, we will get into it more fully. We're going to have a little bit of fun talking to Lawyer Moog. It's going to be a really good time. But right now, I just had to get on here and yap a little bit with you guys because this is so crazy. Please let me know in the comments, what are you guys thinking? Were you as shocked as I was that it happened? Like, not shocked, but like, honestly, like, so excitedly shocked in a way because we talked about it happening at this time. Like, we knew it was going to happen while Pluto was in Capricorn. But when it really happens, you're just like, I can't believe it. People have been posting this with no editing. Okay. Where are my cards? Here we go. Usually the Virgo in me wants to like make it, not perfect, but not this wild. Not this just and if I, and I rambled or whatever, I'm so sorry. You guys just fast forwarded a little bit. I had so many thoughts going through my head. This was just so there were so many astrological just like coincidences. And if I forgot anything, I'll talk about it in the podcast episode with Michael. But okay. So let's pull something on the mic. Okay. So let's dog hair on the mic, to be honest with you guys. Dolly hair to be exact. She's got the floofy hair. Okay, Diddy. We're gonna pull a couple cards here. So how about I don't know, let's just see what card wants to come through. And by the way, tomorrow he's appealing the no bail order to try to get like house arrest. Okay, one flew out. We're gonna take it. I hope that they keep him in jail. Um, Michael said he thinks they will, but we'll see. I guess we'll know tomorrow. Okay, 3 of Pentacles. Ooh, this is his collaborators. Okay. So, as we know from all the coverage, there are a lot of collaborators, a lot of people that helped Diddy keep this whole, as they're saying, enterprise going. It is scary the amount of people who were involved in this. And there was even like a little chart on, I think it was CNN this evening, and it was like house, like uh, people who worked at the house, housekeepers, bodyguards, drivers, and then like another one was uh, people that he worked with, family. It's like so many different hubs. And this 3 of Pentacles, this is people working together. So this card, this energy is talking about and connecting with the people around him. Also, I'm wondering if this let's get a clarifier, but I'm wondering if this is talking about them having more information or I don't know, something's going on with this. Let's get a clarifier before I get ahead of myself. Okay. Oh, dang. Let's clarify this 3 of Pentacles, please. And then in the members only video extended, I am going to pull some cards on Jennifer Lopez. We're going to see how Cassie's feeling. We know she's feeling good. We're going to pull a card for her, his sons, his mom. We're just going to see how everybody's feeling. All the associates, Ashton Kutcher, Jay-Z and Beyonce. Like, guys, that's members only, though, because we're going to get a little more snarky over there. But okay. Clarifying this 3 of Pentacles. 7 of Pentacles. Okay. Money, money, money. Money talks. Let's get a clarifier for the 7 of Pentacles. Something about the money, of course. I think that's all Diddy cares about is money. Well, and the other, the freak offs. Disturbing. What a disturbing individual. I'm sorry. Like, oof, I consumed way too much information about him today. Okay. We're going to take both. 8 of Cups walking away and the 2 of Swords. Oh my gosh. People are going to be walking away from him. His collaborators, they're going to flip on him. They are going to flip. The 2, okay. There's a lot coming through. So first of all, this is the people that he worked with. Okay. I was going to cut that out, that little yawn. I think I'm not going to though, because I have to go to bed. Okay. Love you guys. I'm sorry. So the Three of Pentacles, I will wrap this up though. This is about, like I said, the collaborators, who he's worked with, people that, they were talking about in this suit. The Eight of Cups, to clarify this Seven of Pentacles, this is like spiritual work, spiritual money. This is like realizations around the money, working hard for money that hasn't arrived yet. There are people that he has not compensated very well, or people who had promises or or they were doing things because they had dreams of achieving something. This could even be his sons, like just people around him that worked with him. And they had dreams of this. And so it's, in in an enterprise like this, really it's like a mafia mob type of vibes, what I'm getting. It's like they're doing these things for a purpose. But once that purpose and that promise is done, there really isn't any loyalty. Eight of Cups. Eight is power, and Cups is just like walking away. It's like you don't really care that much because you're not there for the love. I don't think he's a very loving person, honestly. Like he's not very emotional. Okay, something weird that I heard today also in one, oh my God, and I wish I could remember who it was, but I feel bad not citing them. But I listened to so many videos, and I was trying to just like kind of immerse myself in the info for the podcast episode coming up. But this is she basically said that he was quoted saying that he actually doesn't consider himself someone that's a very good friend, because he's not the kind of person that will slow down. He was like, I'm not the kind of person that will slow down long enough to really like listen to somebody else. And this was, I think, in like a documentary, more recent. For whatever reason, he was just kind of like bearing his soul, being more emotional, or not. He wasn't emotional. He was being more honest and sharing like his true self. And so if you think about it, somebody who isn't there for others, really, it's a relationship of power. It's a power dynamic, eight energy. And then yeah, you're gonna walk away from it. So this is talking about how there's no real loyalty to him, because all he's been able to offer these people are pentac are pentacles, and to work for the pentacles, the money. But if everything in his life is falling apart and he hasn't built any real connections, yeah, there's no loyalty. They're gonna walk away. They're gonna leave him, and they're gonna do whatever they need to do to salvage their own lives, right? Even if it means deserting him. Now, what's interesting is we have this Two of Swords card. This is about feeling like you don't know what to do and you don't have as many choices. Like you think you don't have very many choices, but you have all the choice in the world. This is talking about empowering the victims, empowering the people who have felt like they don't have any choices. These people are finally empowering themselves to walk away. I just had goosebumps all over. And through choosing to take off this blindfold, to put the swords down, take off the blindfold, they are going to free themselves. For so long, they have felt like this Two of Swords energy of not knowing what to do or where to turn, and not. This is a card of not recognizing your own power, because all this person who feels so trapped has to do is just put the swords down and untie the blindfold. They feel trapped because they're like, my hands aren't free and there's a blindfold on my face. But it's like, just free your hands, put down the swords, untie it. Then you're good. You can see. So that's what the process is for a lot of these people, these victims, allegedly, that are like coming out. This is the freedom they're going to feel from walking away. And I even think people working for him, not everybody. And I don't want to, by the way, I don't want to make light of any of the crimes or the blackmail or, the trafficking. People are definitely need to be held accountable for what they have done, right? But I this is more to me people that were kind of like peripheral and felt in some way that they didn't have the power to make changes, because this is about power, but they're feeling empowered now. They're going to walk away. They don't have loyalty to him. I don't know. I don't know exactly how that would work, because again, I don't quite understand all of the charges. It's very intricate, very entailed. Michael's actually going to print out the indictment Oh, yeah, we're prepping. We are gonna be ready for this podcast. But, yeah, we gotta go over all the things. So, anyway, okay, that's pretty good. I like that. Let's wrap it up because I don't wanna yawn on this mic again, but I just wanted to get on here and kinda, like, share these crazy thoughts, these insights, the astrological insights, if you will, and then just kinda pull a card, see where things are at. Okay, let's end on this because I do take a little bit of pleasure in Diddy's pain. How does Diddy feel at this moment in time tonight? This is his first night in, well, I think he spent last night. He spent last night in custody, but this is his first night in custody under the assumption that he could remain in custody until his trial, which could be months away. He's going to try to appeal it tomorrow. I hope it doesn't work. I think the safest place for him and for the witnesses is for him to be in jail since he is dangerous and has threatened and intimidated them. So I really hope that that holds up. But let's see, how does he feel tonight? This was really his first true consequence because even though he spent jail Monday night in jail, he thought, and they offered $50 million to be able to like do a house arrest thing and not have to remain in custody. And he thought he was gonna be able to pay his way out and he couldn't. So how does he feel tonight, allegedly? For entertainment purposes only. The Hanged Man. He feels stuck. He feels like he's in limbo. He doesn't know what's going to happen tomorrow. This is the first time I have gotten any sort of card of vulnerability for him. The last reading that I did for him, it was like, I think the sun card, it was like just like optimism, like I've got this, I'm going to be fine. Like just this smug, self-belief. You can't even call it that. It's just like this blind narcissism. Okay. So he feels like the hanged man. For the first time, he feels like he's in limbo. The hanged man feels powerless. For the first time, he's feeling as powerless as these other people. This is karmic justice. He is now going to be put in the position to feel powerless the way that he did to others while Pluto was in um Capricorn. Dang. Dang. The pendulum swings the other way. Okay. One more clarifier for Diddy. Page of Pentacles. Oh my God. Not back to the page. He is, you know what? How crazy is he? He is thinking about his money yet again. I mean, he's obsessed with his money. Well, he does have Mars in Capricorn in the first house. And yeah, no, he's about the money. So he's like really worried. Page of Pentacles. He's worried that he's going to go back to being a page. He's worried he's going to lose his money. You know what else? I believe I'm not gonna pull up the chart again, but I believe that his midheaven might be in Pisces. If so, that's also interesting because the lunar eclipse eclipsing something out. If that is in fact his midheaven, then or north node. Dang it, I have to look at the chart. Okay, hold on. It's gonna drive me crazy if I don't know. Oh my god, yeah, North Node. Okay, I knew it. I knew it was something serious. So he has his third house ruled by Pisces, which is this is communication, neighborhoods, siblings, associates, things you do, media, also communication, media. And he has his North Node in Pisces here in the third house. The Pisces lunar eclipse, lunar is a lot of the time lunar can be like letting go or like some sort of culmination or understanding of information. This could have been a really positive time of karmic rewards if he would have basically done right by other people while he had the opportunity of Pluto in his first house. But since he didn't, I believe that what is eclipsing is the opportunity of his North Node in Pisces in the third house. Because the North Node is like where we're headed, where we're supposed to be going, our destiny. Pisces energy is all about spirituality. It's a beautiful energy. It is, like I said, like spiritual, it is creative, it is just like flowing and loving. Jennifer Lopez actually has Pisces North Node. That must be why they connected. I also don't think that she's reaching for it. I mean, not to this extent, of course, but very interesting. If you don't reach for your North Node, it's like if you don't use it, you lose it, that type of thing. Now, I mean, if he does reach his North Node, dang, it would have to be through like the real like inward spirituality, like reading books and stuff because you're like stuck, and being incarcerated. But he could have had the opportunity with that in the third house to release, be such a beacon of light and creativity for others. Yeah, and he chose not to, and so now it's getting eclipsed out. It's like the opportunity is gone. It's a huge loss for him. And media also with that third house ruling media. Yeah, the way that the media sees him, the Pisces, the negative side of Pisces can be kind of an illusion of the two fish swimming in opposite directions. He's trying so hard to keep us confused, to keep the wool over our eyes, but we're seeing him for who he is. Like it's done. And with that being his north node, his south node is actually Virgo. So people who have placements that are prominent that are, connected to your south node, they can be people from a past life. So the fact that Cassie is a Virgo sun, her sun is connected to his south node. So, I mean, this is, like I said, it's very karmic. He really did have some major opportunities to make different choices in this lifetime, and he chose not to. People with south node placements for they will teach you something. We talked about that with Camila and Sean. It's going to be intense, basically. This is not easy breezy. So, okay, I'm going to leave it at that because I could go on forever. I love you guys so much. Thank you for listening. Sorry for like the hiccups, but I just wanted to get this out there. And if you guys love dogs and kitties, be sure that you check out my Brit Madrid Instagram Friday, Saturday, because we are going to be posting a lot about adoptable available pups from Dallas Animal Services, and you can adopt from out of state. DM me if you have any questions or if you see a pup that you like or a kitty that you like. And yeah, anyway, love you guys. And I will talk to you very soon. And I'm really excited for the podcast episode with Michael. We're going to do a full legal Teagle breakdown. All right. Love you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments.